Hi YouTube, it's Miss Kavumba here. Y'all saw the title of the video. I am sick of discrimination, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about anti-black discrimination, specifically towards a lot of dark-skinned black women, because that topic's really hitting me home right now, and I want to talk about it as I do Bad Case of Stripes, Sick Little Girl, Makeup. Yeah, so let's get into this video. The first topic of discussion is colorism. That is discrimination against individuals with a darker skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. This is something I've experienced since I was 5 years old. Doing my makeup and speaking about topics I'm passionate about is just what I do. Just putting it out there, I'm using the Athena You Can Be face paint palette. That's what I use to divide my face. Now I'm painting away. Now let's talk about colorism. I've experienced that since I was 5 years old when I was in kindergarten, and I remember having a friend that was lighter skinned. We were just playing, obviously, as kids do, and these older kids in 6th grade came up to us and they were saying how cute my friend looked and how they think kids are adorable and all that, but they'd look over to me, kind of giving me a side eye.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye. Do you understand?
Yeah, I know. These are African people we're talking about too.
We ain't got time for games. If you don't want to be African, no problem. Get away from me.
Once they were giving me the side eye, they were like, yeah, lighter skinned kids just look better than the darker skinned ones.
What?
I know, crazy. Can you believe that? Anyhow, later on while I'm in elementary school, I remember a group of kids comparing their skin tone.
No! God, please, no!
We really don't got the time if you don't want to be African. What? If you don't want to be black and proud? Craziness. They compared their skin tones and calling themselves light chocolate, milk chocolate, pointed out to me and said I'm dirty, dusty, dark chocolate, whatever it was. I thought it was insane. I just thought they were crazy.
You're crazy.
My feelings were not hurt in these instances. I was more just shocked that they couldn't see the gravity to what they were doing. They really couldn't see that. Why would you not be black and proud? I see black and proud as someone who celebrates yourself as a black person and other people being black. And just loving our individuality, our connection, all of that. Coming together will just strengthen us as a community instead of us breaking each other down. Craziness. I can even speak on colorism when it comes to discoloration. Me being of a dark complexion, I have a lot of discoloration. I am different skin tones all over my body. You can literally see it in this video. My knuckles, they're darker than the rest of my complexion. Same with my knees, same with my elbows, same with my toes, even my face. While I do my makeup, it's not like a blank canvas where everything looks the same tone. It's a mixture of different things. And that's beautiful because that's the way God intended it to be. Psalms 139:4, it says, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. God knows that we are wonderfully made exactly how we look, regardless of society's beauty standards and people facing internalized racism and projecting that among other people in their community. So if you look the way you look and people are trying to make you feel bad about that, just know that God loves you as you are, okay? God loves you as you are, and you should be proud of yourself. I don't think there's anything wrong with embracing your natural features. So many things in the beauty industry, as much as I love it because of its creativity, are made for us to change ourselves, especially black people. We have literal products to lighten our complexion. Some people are saying, oh, I just want to look a little bit lighter, or I want to look a little lighter in certain areas because of discoloration. But it's not even a bad thing. People have tried to make it out to me as if it's a bad thing, it's a flaw, it's something that can be fixed, and that used to irritate me because I used to be called stubborn, y'all. I was called stubborn by just liking my features as they are and not wanting to change them to please other people. Ain't that something? I was even called stubborn for not wanting to change my hairstyle to please other people. Now we're going to talk about hair texturism. This is discrimination based on hair texture, which involves the marginalization of people with kinkier and tighter curled hair. That means people with curly hair can also discriminate against other people with curly hair, depending on their hair type. So what I've gone through with hair texturism is seeing that I would like to wear my hair out naturally, and it was thick, it was curly, it was big. It wasn't exactly like the hair I got installed right now because I am wearing extensions. I add that in with my natural hair because I just think it looks good. That does not mean I think my natural hair looks bad on its own. Worn it many times on its own, publicly, and embracing it in its natural state. Yeah, y'all have seen, if you watch enough of my videos, my natural hair. And it's not exactly this hair texture. Like this hair texture, at least, it's really well received in society as compared to when I wear my full natural hair out, which is really, really tight curls. That's called kinky hair. When it's really tight curls, they call it kinky curls. That hair is not really well received. And I don't mean a few people saying they don't like it. I mean like all of society. It's quite disturbing. Walk into school, and this is a predominantly white school, they would just stare me down, bro. Like, you can see when people are looking at you, and you can see when people are looking at your hair because their eyes are facing upwards. Like, they can't even look at you in the eyes. It's facing upwards. They were looking at me like I was an extraterrestrial, for real. It's crazy. I think so many people with curly hair, especially type 4 curly hair, like that looks similar to mine, understand that when a lot of people say they like curly hair, they like girls natural, they mean a look that isn't ours a lot of the time. They mean whatever's closest to whiteness in proximity, what a lot of biracial people have. That's quite strange. Especially since historically, guys, it was black women with type 4 hair, the thick afros, they started the natural hair curly movement. And now it's like we're getting kicked out of the community in the sense that that's seen as the less likable hair type. So my problem with hair texturism is other black people, a lot of us are born with the same hair types or similar hair types. We've seen it before, and we have a problem with the way other people look with the same features that we have. I think that's absolutely crazy. When I tell you Eurocentric features have my community in a chokehold, this is what I mean. I would wear my hair out naturally as a kid, and people made fun of me for it. People make fun of you in very different ways. It's not always publicly saying things to your face, but you can tell when people are laughing at you. And you can tell when people are staring you down, thinking you look crazy. What's so interesting is an afro is literally just a hairstyle. It's existed for centuries. What? Like, that's insane. People literally pay for afro wigs, and you're trying to make me feel bad for just wanting an afro naturally? Apparently, some people don't consider natural hair to be done. I have never looked at my natural hair and said my hair isn't done. The helly? When I say my hair is done, I literally mean I styled it. Styling hair could mean putting your hair in an afro. An afro is a hairstyle, so your hair is done. Up top is a hairstyle, so your hair is done. A bun is a hairstyle, so your hair is done. Even cornrows are a hairstyle, so your hair is done. I stand against the fact that we gotta change the way we look to be socially acceptable. There's so many ways to style natural hair. And like I said before, an afro itself is a hairstyle. I've worn my hair out naturally on my birthday. I remember my sisters and my friend said, what I want to do, and I said, I'm gonna wear an afro. I did have my friend at the time say, what? On your birthday? You should get a wig. And I just let it be. I wore my hair as it was, and I still looked good, and I took my photos and everything. She only said that because I understood that her hair texture looks exactly like mine, but she isn't comfortable ever wearing her hair out. You see what I'm saying here? Sister? Sister, come here. Sister, listen to me. When people often say negative things about you, it's like they have a problem with themselves. Because people who are happy, completely happy and confident with their own lives are not going to say something negative to somebody else. They're saying negative things to other people to either make themselves feel good, or they're saying negative things to other people because that's how they feel about themselves. That friend I had, she never ever wears her natural hair out. So of course, that's why she doesn't see it as normal for a celebration. And then I wore my hair as it was and I looked good. Everybody hit me up. Yeah, she liked it too. I constantly see Black women say they can't go out. They can't go to an event because their hair is not done. I'm realizing a lot of the Black women that say this have a hair type that's falls into the type 4 hair category, so very similar to mine. I don't often hear people with different hair types talk about they can't go to an event, they can't go out because their hair is not done. And if we're talking about people with curly hair, people with the type 3 curls, y'all can search it up. Those are the looser curls. The looser curls are more socially acceptable. I don't really hear people with curls like that say they can't go out and can't go to an event. I hear people with my hair texture say that they can't go out. They're letting their hair stop them. This internalized form of racism and insecurity is stopping us from going out and living our lives. There was even a discourse online on when it is and is not appropriate to wear natural hair, as if it's inappropriate to show up as you are naturally. When it comes to Black women, a lot of people, Black people and others outside in different racial groups, say our hair is not done because it's not straightened or in braids that include extensions. No other racial group says, my hair's not done, when they see their own natural hair. And they don't stop themselves from leaving the house and going out to events because their hair isn't done in a certain style. It's only within the Black community. When I was younger, before wearing my hair out naturally constantly, I would actually straighten it. So when I would straighten it, people in my community were the ones that started a problem with it. Instead of just saying, your hair looks good, I get told, is it real? Because they couldn't fathom that a Black woman can grow her own hair and it looks long. So I'd wear my hair naturally some instances, and then people would say,
when are you gonna straighten it? You should get braids done. I like it more when you wear your hair up, at least not all out, because it's a little too much.
So society is basically saying, as Black women, when we wear our hair naturally, it's not professional. And when we straighten our hair, it's expected that it just cannot be real. That's pretty ignorant. Never let people, this is note from Miss Kabumba's advice. I like this. It's like makeup podcasts, rants. This is a fun little series you got going on. Never let people make you feel bad for being all that you are. You want to do something, you go do it. Okay? Because you live this life once, you may as well do what makes you happy. Hello? Ring, ring, ring. I hope you're still hearing me, as long as it's not hurting nobody else. Alright? Do what makes you happy and express yourself creatively, as long as you're not being offensive and hurting people around you. And you're good. I think you're cool in my books. I think people who have the biggest problem with Black women just wearing their natural hair out, and especially Black women with a dark complexion wearing their natural hair out, is that they want us to dislike ourselves. They want us to feed into the fact that society wants us to change. They were so used to Black people wanting to blend into whiteness. I'm going to talk more about hair texturism when I spoke about switching up my styles and people perceiving me in different ways. So I'd wear my natural hair out throughout high school, throughout university, and I noticed a lot of men started treating me differently once I started to wear wigs and braids. And talking to dark-skinned Black women with my hair textured, they can relate. So being someone of my complexion, even though I look all rainbow and sparkly right now, I can definitely say people want to treat you differently. They don't see you the same. I feel like people of lighter complexions can have their natural hair out, and the world is fine with that. The moment someone of darker complexion wears their natural hair out, the world has so much to say. I mean, I've spoke about in my last video, wearing my natural hair out and men asking me if I'd ever try wearing wigs. Or I'm wearing my natural hair out and men asking me if I ever try wearing braids. Like, yeah, I look good in braids. Yeah, I look good in wigs. But if I have my hair in an afro, why are you asking me to switch it up? Especially switch it up for someone like, I don't even know you like that. It is so weird. That is so weird. The only thing I could really think about is like your husband paying for your hair appointment and saying they'd like to see you in a certain style. And I feel like that could be sweet. But someone you don't know saying that they want to see you in a certain style that you usually don't wear, I think that's really weird. Like, I'm not here to just cater to you. Goodbye. That also makes me fall into featurism. So, featurism, discrimination that involves judging people based on their physical features, especially how well those features align with Eurocentric beauty standards or the beauty standards of that community. In this case, I'm going to talk about my experience of featurism when it comes to body shape. I already talked about skin tones with colorism. I talked about hair with texturism, and now I can talk about body shapes. So a lot of people would say when it comes to the Eurocentric universal beauty standard that being skinny is the best thing to be when it comes to your body shape. But growing up in the Black community, being skinny wasn't actually the top beauty standard. It was always the Coke bottle feature, you know? It was always hourglass figure. It was someone who was skinny in certain places, but they had the curves in other places, right? My experience with featurism is that I grew up skinny. I only started looking a little different after I hit the gym 3 years ago, 2022. That was also the year where I started wearing wigs. So could y'all imagine me finally seeing how the world sees me differently by just changing my hairstyle and hitting the gym? And the thing is, I literally looked good before. And I just understand that when it comes to darker skinned Black women, it's like you gotta check all these little boxes to be seen as desirable. Not even joking. And a lot of darker skinned women have this experience. They share it on YouTube, on TikTok. They talk about how people didn't like them when they were skinny. They talk about people didn't like them when they were their natural hair out. What? That's insane. Like, we're only 10 out of 10s when we change our hairstyles and our body shape. Whereas, let's talk about just other Black women who aren't darker skinned, do not have 4 type hair, and let's say they're skinny. Some are still seen as desirable because of their skin complexion, their hair texture, all of those things. I'm constantly seeing society say negative things about darker skinned women. And the most negative thing they can say is usually their skin tone, and then they associate everything else with it. I can even talk about celebrities we see online. Alondria, for example, if y'all see Love Island, I don't even watch Love Island. Let's talk about that. I found out everything I knew about Love Island by reading about it on Threads. Alondria, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous girl, right? But you're going to tell me there are Black men and some Black women making fun of her because they see darker skinned Black women as animals. This is disgusting. Meanwhile, her features, if they were on somebody else of a different race or complexion, they would 100% be praised. People who got the mommy milkers, respectfully, and people who got junk in the trunk back there, right? People praise that look, especially when you got a small waist with that as well. Alondria got that going on, but because she's darker skinned, people are saying the most outlandish things about her. That's a perfect example for people who haven't experienced this themselves, but perhaps would want to see or understand how other people have dealt with this online. Alondria is a perfect example. If Alondria was a white girl or a lighter skinned girl, she'd receive way less hate. Let's be so for real. And I hate the negativity towards Black women online. If I'm being so for real and honest, it scares me because it makes me feel like people could hate me too by just existing, being myself, and, you know, trying to make the world a more positive place. That's very, very insane. The next topic of discussion brings me to being ridiculed. I feel like people who aren't attracted to Black women constantly ridicule them, so we are not seen as humans based on our physical appearances. Not treating someone with respect because you find them unattractive is the most unhumane thing you can do. I am seeing Black women get death threats from just existing in their spaces. I use Alondria as an example, but Halle Bailey got that as well. Megan Thee Stallion got that as well. Cardi B got that as well. Teyana Taylor got that as well. People are so quick to treat them as if their experiences, their traumas do not matter. Because when a Black woman is in pain, mentally or physically, apparently she's got to be lying. That also has historical evidence tied back to it as well. When it came to Black women experiencing pain, let's say even in hospitals, a lot of doctors treat them as if they have a high pain tolerance. Even Black women having therapists that aren't Black, some would say that they're strong enough to keep going and withstand all of the troubling, traumatic experiences that they had. People are not seeing us as humans. Even seeing us as superhumans is not seeing us as humans, because we're just like anybody else, yet the world does not want to give us the same amount of grace and empathy. And that is so hurtful. It's like we can't thrive and grow in spaces unless Black women come together and uplift each other up. Because if I'm even going to talk about womanhood and women, there's still women that discriminate against other women out there. I'm telling you all these different forms of discrimination, right? That's a real thing that can happen against other women, and it sucks. It does suck, and I hate that. I hate that for my other sisters that I see on the screen. My sisters watching this screen. I hate that for my other sisters all around the world. I would rather us come together and love on each other. And I'm really big on this part that I want to talk about is toxic forms of representation. This is a type of representation that often emphasizes the most unfavorable aspects of a person or group's identity, leading to the stigmatization and marginalization in society. This often happens with Black women we see portrayed online in negative aspects. Some people see the way Black women are portrayed online and think that is every Black woman, even though we are so different across the diaspora and we are not a monolith. We're going to meet Black women who are super educated, creative, shy, outgoing, or that act a little bit more hood. But we're not all the exact same. The problem with toxic forms of representation is it promotes more of the toxic side that people forget there is a good side of representation. When I think of the things Black women have to go through, we are often grouped up in the baddies culture. When I say baddies, I don't mean somebody that looks good. I mean the show baddies, where they just be knocking each other out. Or we're grouped in baby mama culture, saying that we never get married. We just have multiple baby daddies. We're grouped in people who don't go to school and just rely on a man or anything else to get money. The problem with that type of representation getting popularized across social media, we can say with certain celebrities and just, you know, how social media goes, and then there's different shows. People act like that's all of us. I have spoken to real life Black men. I'm not even talking about the ones online. Real life Black men who have told me to my face that they do not like Black women. What's crazy is I never asked. They just have the audacity to tell me. And then I tell them, aren't you Black? And then they gonna hate me with, yeah, but you know what? Black women act. They're different. They're the most ghetto. They're the most loud. They're the most uneducated. They're the meanest ones. They don't take care of their appearances. That's how they see us, which is absolutely insane. And they always hit me with but you know what? You're not like the other ones. This is coming from Black men. This is why I say there's a problem with toxic forms of representation, because there are even Black men that see us represented online as, you know, Black women, and they think that's all of us, and they're scared to be around us. What the heck? Open your eyes, brothers. We are not all the same as we see portrayed online. Just like I see some terrible men online, but I know not every single man is like that. Yeah. And as a community, we should say more positive things about each other. Why would a Black man go out in public with their Black friends or non-Black friends and talk about how much they don't like Black women? What? Because now those other Black men, especially non-Black men, are going to have that in their head. Oh shoot, Black women act like this. When we're fantastic people. And that's my beef with toxic forms of Black representation. I talked about that in my Twitch's video where I was like, I want to see Black people represented in a lighthearted way. talk about that when I did my Twitches cosplay. But in terms of men, I ain't done yet. Stick around. We just got a few minutes left. I want to talk about black love. Black love. This is love between black individuals and extends beyond romantic relationships, as many people would say. It says it encompasses more with a sense of community, culture, and resilience. I actually used to crave this a lot more when I was younger. And then I was obviously in the world and I saw how the world functions and how it sees black women, even black men. And that perspective basically got shattered. From what I see online, some black women, especially, the ones who have black partners, they say, if you're with a black man, that's who's really going to take care of you. That's who's really going to understand you. That's who's really going to respect you culture-wise. But I've spoken to black men, and I'm going to be so honest, just in my experience, this isn't to project on other people. This is just my own video essay and experiences, that I'm often not treated like human when I'm around black men. I'm not treated as human. They all treat me like I'm an object. Like they only enjoy being around me when I fit their ideal beauty standard. When I say this, I mean me looking the way I look, right? Some people have known me for years. They've came across me before. But as soon as I changed my hairstyle, that's when it's like, oh my gosh, Carol. That's when they want to talk to me. Or as soon as I start going to the gym, it's like, oh, your body's accentuated in this way. Now I want to talk to you. Or I notice as soon as they speak to me, it's like not what I expected at all. They seem nice in person, and then you just give them a bit. They don't plan anything. There's no gestures. They don't really care about what I have going on. It's more interested in other things. But then men of other racial groups, I can really talk about white men here. White men, just my experience, just my life. The difference with how they've treated me and black men is that the white ones will at least want to go out somewhere with me, whereas the black ones just have other intentions. And it's so strange. I hope it's not like this forever, because at the end of the day, I like everyone and I want the best for my community too. I love black people. I love black people all across the diaspora. Maybe it's just a thing with age, or it's a thing with the city, but the age I'm at in my 20s, to just talk to a woman and you have no plans with her at all, you're just talking to her for other things, that's so interesting. Whereas as soon as I talk to a white guy, it's like they want to see me, but a black guy will just keep talking and talking, and their intentions are not as pure. And that will not lead to love. That will only lead towards lust, is what I'm saying. And that's what I mean when I say I'm not treated as human around them. And it makes me think of how black women, dark-skinned black women, are seen in the media. Like, are we worth nothing to some people? That we're only worth objectifying? We're only worth lust? That's absolutely insane. And that's how I'm gonna wrap up the video on my experiences being a dark-skinned black girl. Hey YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed this video. And I know discrimination is a heavy topic, but I'm passionate about educating my audience and talking about things that hit home for me. I know that discrimination against Black women happens to me, my friends, my family, and my fellow sisters online. So I wanted to talk about it. I thought it'd be a creative way to do the Bad Case of Stripes makeup look where she gets sick and then her body turns into this, and just caption it "sick of discrimination." I'm doing a lot of more chit chat videos where I do my makeup, my cosplays, and y'all get to know more about me, my thoughts, and yeah. So I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. You know, like the 2016 YouTubers, it's usually like a white male. They're like, hit that subscribe button, punch it right now. Yeah, smash it. What if I just start doing that? Anyhow, thank you for supporting your local creative. I appreciate it. You'll heavily enjoy the next video as well, because I do my makeup and I talk about a really important message. Yeah. Happy Halloweeny. Mwah. Don't forget to subscribe, like I said so, because you're gonna see this full look and it eats.